don't know.
Hello, and welcome to Season 5 of The Oval already. We're here, and we're going to talk about super juicy stuff all season long. Tonight we're talking about this weekend's Grammys and those highlights. We're going to talk about the up-and-coming 2020 presidential election and all that tea so far. And to top it off, we're going to talk about the weather that's been going on in our city. I don't know what's up, but let's get it started.
Sweet.
So the Grammys, people.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely been
It was fun-filled.
controversial.
There was a lot of stuff that happened with it, you know.
You did not?
No,
Okay.
because
Spill.
J. Cole, he didn't get nominated for not one thing.
Yeah.
Like, a solo album by himself, his features was himself. Like, and his music is so influential, but people don't like music that's positive and talking about things that's real.
Really?
You know what I'm saying? The real issues. Yeah, we could talk about the money, we could talk about the cars, but drugs in our society is big. Like, kids are taking drugs just to do it, just to get away from pain, but there's a lot of other things that you could do. I sound like I'm rapping, I'm sorry. There's a lot of other things that you can do than take drugs to get rid of pain. So he's really like speaking to the youth, and nobody cares about he's speaking to the youth. So I'll step back from the Grammys for this year, you know, until J. Cole gets something. So,
You know, my dad actually always told me something funny. People dance to music and to beat. They don't really care about the lyrics a lot of the time. And
Yeah.
so if people have popular music with, you know, everybody's feeling the beat, nobody's going to care about what you're saying, right?
Exactly.
So, of course, you know, it's going to be Astro World, and of course it's going to be, you know, all this Drake and stuff like that. Not to knock them, but, you know.
Right, yeah.
But even in general, the hip hop community never has representation. Like, I know that Drake declined to perform, Kendrick declined to perform, Ariana Grande, but you know,
She's not
whatever
really-
with
I don't-
it.
yeah, I think
But,
it's cool.
She doesn't
I mean,
fit in that category. But
it does kind of make sense though. I mean, rap is never really represented. Like, I mean, you know, whether or not you like Drake, he's like the most popular music artist right now. Has been for like 5 years. He should be racking up Grammys every year, and he finally did this year with God's Plan. But otherwise, I mean, he's been the top selling artist for the past 5 years. I mean, you turn on the radio, there's 10 different Drake songs.
Exactly.
And he's still not represented, and
Right.
it's crazy.
Right.
And what do you guys think that's about? What do you think that's stemmed in?
I think
I mean-
the way that we as a nation, or just as a culture, a society, I think that we should look at the way we criticize and critique art a lot differently in today's modern society, because we have a lot of hip hop now that's like very beat and just dance and whatever, and then we have some hip hop that's very meaningful and talks about certain issues. And I think both of those things have a place in the realm of hip hop. But I think we just have to be more mindful of how we critique these things, and like, is this really like influential? No, is it just about selling records, or is it really about like the impact of it, you know, and things of that nature? So I don't know, but I'm not really. I don't know. The Grammys is just like, I watch the Oscars. I don't really know.
Right,
about the
yeah.
Grammys.
I'm
Is
not
like
gonna
whatever.
lie, I did not tune into the Grammys, but I heard a few names I've never heard of before. Casey Musgraves. Never
Yeah,
heard this
she
lady.
won 4, and that's kind of like astounding for someone who has been making music for a while but hasn't really won anything yet. And so she won a couple different categories, and so that's kind of cool. Although, like, not a lot of people know about her, and that's kind of upsetting because if you garnered that much attention from the Grammys, it's like, you know, I don't know where I was going with this.
I mean, it was in general, I heard, a very big year for women.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, well, yes.
Which is super important. I mean, I'm here by myself, but I would say go ladies. I would hope you guys would say so.
Yeah,
too,
another lady right here.
You were saying earlier, Dua Lipa won Best Newcomer.
She
So,
did.
you know,
She's my lady. She's totally my lady.
She's like
So-
really like really cool and funky. Like, you know, her songs are so like, you know, gnarly and stuff. So
Right.
it's cool that she won.
I think she's new and she's tasteful. But all right, we're gonna wrap it up, take a break really quick, and once we're back, we will be discussing the 2020 presidential election.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Welcome back. We're moving on to discuss the 2020 presidential election. What are you guys thinking about this?
It's scary to think that it's already starting up. You
Yeah.
know,
And
it's
yet
wild.
exciting at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a little refreshing just to think.
How is he
okay,
not out of office yet? Like, come on,
Yeah.
man, it's been too long. Like, how? Okay, so you telling me all 5 of us at the table, you are president, and you got mixed up in some dirty stuff. You go to jail, you go to jail,
Yeah.
you go to jail, and I go to jail, but you don't go to jail. So there's something wrong that every one of us is going to jail, but you're not going to jail.
Yeah.
That's our
Very
presidency.
That's
Very
yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's like a very good way to put it. Yeah.
Like, who else is to blame?
I think what's refreshing is that, again, I'll bring it up, we have a lot of women running, so
Yeah,
that's
it's
cool. We
exciting.
see a change up
Definitely.
in politics. We also, we have people from like every walk of life, if you will,
Yeah.
running. Like, what is it, the Starbucks CEO?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of
He threw
random.
his hat in.
Yeah,
That's kinda
but
like-
said he's running as an independent. I don't know how intelligent that is.
Yeah, I don't really like a businessman running for all front.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think we saw
already
how that
kind of
turned
see
out.
how
Yeah.
that's turning out.
Right.
So it's kind of like, what about an actual politician?
Right.
Somebody who's actually like learned all of these things.
Yeah.
That
Now-
would be cool to see.
That's true.
You know
What
what I
are you
mean?
guys thinking? Like, have you heard of anybody who you're like might be a good decision?
I mean, I know our own like Congressperson Kristen
Jill-
Gillibrand
yeah,
is
Gillibrand,
running, and that's kind of cool. That New York State representation. Apart from that, I've heard of Tulsi Gabbard, Kamala Harris, Amy Klobuchar. I don't. Pardon the butchering of the name. But her, Elizabeth Warren.
Oh, yeah.
We,
Yeah.
everybody's kind of focused on that because she was, everybody seems to pump her up and talk about her a lot. So her, I think, need her work. I don't think it's been announced that he's like doing that yet, but like people are excited to see if he's gonna do it too. So like,
And now, correct me if I'm wrong, but Elizabeth Warren, is that the woman who like said something about being Native American and
Yeah.
people? What,
Yeah.
That's
what
her.
was the controversy around that? I think I missed out.
she was just like, I am part Native American, and even though I look white, I have ancestry that goes back into that, and it's kind of like, it's a debate whether or not she is or she isn't. So it's kind of like,
And so were people like disgruntled about that? Were people not appreciating that?
yeah, and then we hear certain people saying stuff really about that, and it's kind of trying to put a limelight on that, and kind of like really amp it up to like
Right.
a point where it shouldn't be. It's
Right.
kind of like she said that, and it's kind of silly, but like it's kind of like we
Yeah.
really don't need all of this extra drama, conflama
Right,
about
right,
it. It's
Now,
a lot.
Do you guys think there are going to be a lot of young people voting in the upcoming election?
I sure hope so. I sure hope everybody at this table and everybody in the studio votes.
Yes.
Everybody knows. I did that whole thing like maybe a season or two ago where I was like, everybody should vote. But it's like, it's like everybody should vote. Everybody here should have a chance to like voice, who they want. And like we've been saying, there's a lot of people running for the Democratic side. Who knows who's going to come up on top on that? But like, it's important that we, pick one. We look into what their policies are. We
Right.
try and make our voices count in that effort. Like we actually do something because this has been rough.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
This has
I
been
think we
really
definitely have to
rough.
be
Like,
intelligent.
we need to change something.
Yeah.
And we can be a part of that.
Yeah, I think that just based off of the presidency now and how everything panned out, like we're going to, and I say we because there's no reason that we shouldn't be voting. We don't want someone else in office who's a bigot, who is insensitive to every walk of life. So we're going to do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say so.
And I think that that we should all be at least very critical about the whole Democrat versus Republican two-party system.
Yeah.
To be open-minded to Green Party, to independent people.
I
voted.
I totally
Green
agree.
I
Party.
still stand by my decision to vote Green Party in the last presidential election because, with all due respect, a lot of people don't know that Republicans and Democrats actually agree on the majority of issues. It's just those few small things that we see in the mainstream.
I totally agree with you. The whole two-party system thing never made sense to me.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
make sense that like I could vote in Alabama, it doesn't matter, and that Republican could vote in New York, and it doesn't matter at all. It just does not make sense to me. It shouldn't be divided. You can't divide 300 million people into two groups. That
Yeah.
does not
It's
make
always going to be
sense.
some over and underlying thing that we all agree on, and especially like the Green Party. Look, we have 12 years to turn it around, and if in those 12 years we don't turn it around, our children's, we might as well not have any kids,
Right.
because this earth, we're
Yeah.
tearing it apart. So
On that note, we're going to have to take another quick break, but after that we'll be discussing the questionable weather that's been going on in
A
our
great
city.
segue, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's climate
Alright.
change, man.
Yeah.
Welcome back from the break. Thanks for staying tuned. We're back and we're going to be talking about the, again, questionable weather that's been going on in Oneonta.
More than
So-
questionable.
Yeah, it's
More than
wild.
questionable, yes,
Yeah.
I'd say so. What do you mean?
I mean, like, there is a definite reason why there's such a up and down with our climate, because there is climate change, which
Right.
a lot of people, like, you know, they want to disapprove or discredit. Oh, there's no climate change. Come on now. There's a lot of things going on in the world that we don't even notice because we're so caught up in driving cars, going to work, and all that. The bee population, it decreased from 1960. These are not correct numbers, but from 1965 to 2018, there's a significant drop in the bee population in the United States and in other places around the world. So, no pollination, we're not getting enough oxygen. So, you know, everything has a factor.
Chain reaction.
I think as someone who's lived here my whole life, it's kind of like interesting to also note like how the weather really has changed in this area. Just because we didn't have winters where it was like negative 20 something one week and then the next week was 40 degrees. Like we didn't have winters like that all the time. We've certainly had like cold kind of seasons, and we've had a lot of snow. Snow is typical here. Kind of colder temperatures, obviously typical here, but like the like dramatic switch back and forth is like only a recent thing. Like the past couple of years, like maybe half a decade, that I've like really noticed it happening in here.
Wow.
Other than that, like, you know, like we had a big snowstorm in 2007 that we got a lot of snow, and that was like the last biggest craziest thing I can remember in Oneonta's history for like bad weather. But now we're seeing it like on a year-to-year scale. We'll see green Christmases and stuff, and it's kind of like it's crazy. It's too much.
It is.
You know?
It's hectic. I mean, I've never heard of a polar vortex until I got here.
Yeah, I had to Google that last
Yeah.
week. I was like, what
I
is
had
polar
no idea. And then
vortex?
we had a polar vortex, and it was like literally you went outside 5 minutes frostbite.
Yeah.
And then it was 60, and now it snowed yesterday, and it wasn't even like snow. It was like ice, and
was
like I kicked it up, and it was like, I don't know, some consistency I've never even seen before.
Yeah, on the
it was
walk here.
strange. It was so strange, and now it's going to be 40, I think tomorrow or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, the
And
weather
it's
is
gonna-
hectic.
Yeah, and it's just gonna rain. It's gonna like make everything disgusting. Not that that's what matters, but I mean, like walking here, just seeing the snow, literally, like you said, iced out. Like
Yeah.
I was like, wait, that looks like I could walk across it.
No,
No,
yeah.
you just can't, right?
Yeah.
You just can't. And then you slip and fall, and it's like, okay, hate this.
So I know you were talking before about like not seeing anything so extreme. Before, like the extreme, you know, from negatives to 40s, was it always just like negatives consistently?
No, it
Because I
wasn't
know
even
you
like-
said it was like cold here.
It wasn't even like negatives. I think there was one winter when I was still in high school, I think my senior year, and it was like, there was like a negative wind chill, but that was like a one day like negative wind chill thing. Like it wasn't like days upon days of like really cold temperatures, like, you know, canceling classes and all this stuff that we've had recently. Like it really
Right.
was like just be careful, and then the next day it was like fine. It was like 30 something, 20 something, and it was okay. Like you weren't gonna get frostbite.
Right.
Yeah.
But it's certainly like, like I said, it's way too much recently. It's really really amped up from previously, and it's kind of like it's kind of scary. It's kind of like I don't want to. I want to stop dealing with all this.
Right. What do you
It's too much.
suspect is gonna come in the future? You think it's only gonna get worse?
I think it's only going to get.
I think it's only- yeah.
I think it's getting worse and worse. I mean, the fires in California. I mean, the amount of hurricanes that we have now. I mean, I've never seen so many hurricanes in my life. Every single summer, it's like this is going to hit and it's going to like be like disastrous now, and it's like crazy, and it's something that they've never seen before because the oceans are getting hotter. I mean, we're on the cusp of whether or not like the Earth will be here. I think in like 100 years, honestly. I mean, it's
Right.
Yeah.
it is wild because we're not doing anything about it. It's all about the money, and
Of course it is.
There's
Yeah.
only one way to do it. We've seen it in movies. Once it gets that drastic, population control, like they already do it in China in a way. Like you're allowed to have one child, so they'll go extreme. What, like martial law, and like, you know, massive. And I'm saying this in a way that I don't want to like get anybody upset, but like mass killings of people, like putting diseases out, just like epidemic. We don't know what's happening. The government knows.
Right.
But
Of course
you know,
the government knows.
so
But on that
It's
note,
cold.
we're gonna wrap it up. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. We are here with our entertainment host tonight, Dan.
Hello.
So, Dan, bring us tonight's tea.
Okay, so over the weekend at the Grammys, Cardi B won Rap Album of the Year, beating Mac Miller, Travis Scott, and a lot of people are like mad over it. So there's a lot of controversy. She deleted her Instagram over it.
Wow.
A lot of celebrities are standing up for her. J. Cole, Lady Gaga, Pusha T, Chance the Rapper.
And
So-
they're all standing up for her.
They stand for her. They
Okay.
say they agree that she should have won. And what do you guys think? Do you think she deserves this award, or do you think it should have went to Mac Miller?
Okay, here, and this is with all due respect, okay, and somebody who enjoyed Mac Miller's music. Yeah, he made great music, but who won, right? Like a lot of people, and again, this is with all due respect, I noticed a lot of people, even friends of mine, who suddenly are Mac Miller fans after he died. So like,
That
you
always
can't,
happens.
you can't just start loving somebody when they die and then be upset when things aren't going for them. It's not like Cardi B is some slum, like she had a come up, and she had a
she had a really
serious
good
come
come
up
up.
in
She-
a very short amount of time.
She's really worked hard to
she's
get
a
to the
hustler,
position
yeah.
where she's been, and like releasing the music that she has, doing the things that she's done with her career so far. It's not like she doesn't deserve it. Like she deserves it, I think.
Right.
Like
She was the first woman to win the award.
Yeah, she's making a name,
You
and I
know?
mean, everywhere you go, everybody knows Cardi B. I don't care where you
Yeah.
are. It's not like she's not influential.
household name at this point. Yeah.
Right. What do you guys think?
Stripper from the Bronx. It's
Stripper from the
wild.
Bronx, and look at her. Seriously, you have
is
to.
wild.
You don't have to like her music. You don't have to like her. You have to admit to the fact that she had to come up.
I respect
and
it.
Yeah, you gotta
I
respect
it.
it.
It's very-
I respect it.
That's
Yeah.
what it is.
She's like the perfect example of a celebrity that has like the perfect team. She has a perfect stylist. She has literally, I follow her hairstylist. Like she has literally like the Grammy. She switched like her wig like 3 times, and like her hairstylist one is like a millionaire now because of her. But she has like a perfect team, and like I think that in terms of artistic quality and lyrical quality, that's a different conversation. But in terms of just the impact, because I think what really makes someone deserve a best hip hop album Grammy, I think it has to do with the public reception of it, both the artistic quality and as well as the general person, how they present themselves. And I think she's really dominated this year. And between her, it was a tough competition too, because I think you had like her and Travis Scott, and like if I put them two together, I'm like they both had so much like hype this obviously this year, and I'm just like, well, she got it, and I'm like, and I think a bigger question is why has women have been if one of the most influential and one of the biggest parts of hip hop for so many years. So how come she was the first woman to win that award?
Yeah.
Right. I
That's
think it's
a very
about
good
time,
question,
right?
Too. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I like how a lot of artists are coming out to support her too.
Yeah.
I'm not like the people that you mentioned. Like, I'm not surprised J. Cole came out. Like, I read his tweet. He said like, I feel like I won. You know what I mean? Like, and like all those people that came out, like J. Cole, Pusha, like they're like the lyrical artists. You know what I mean? Like they're like to me, like the real rappers,
Ones who
and like
matter.
they talk about real things, which I respect. And the fact that they came out and backed her up was like very good for her. I mean, as you said, like Astroworld. I mean, Astroworld was huge. I remember like when it came out, everyone was kind of like, I don't know about this, and then all of a sudden, everyone was listening to it. And Sicko Mode was huge, and Stargazing, all those songs. But I mean, Cardi took it, and I think you just have to respect her for it.
Yeah, props, definitely. Yeah. All right, guys, that is all the tea and time we have for tonight. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at The Oval TV and The Wire at WireTV73. We will see you next week. Thanks for tuning in.